Hello, I'm Robert Reichert, and I'm mayor of Macon-Bibb County, and I am absolutely delighted to welcome Fame Camp to Macon. We're thrilled that you're here with us.
Macon, Georgia has a rich cultural history dating back to its beginnings in the 1800s. It is the fourth largest city in Georgia, and there are so many places where visitors can learn about the city's past and present, from its Native American heritage, antebellum culture, its role in the Civil War, the contributions of African Americans, and its legendary music heritage.
Hello, I'm Miss Macon 2015, Nancy Chance, Fame Camp. Welcome to Macon, Georgia.
Mayor Reichert, thank you so much for having us here. We're really enjoying your beautiful city.
Oh, we're delighted that you're here, and the Fame Camp sounds like a wonderful experience, so we're delighted that you're here in Macon to share it with us.
It is. So I know you're the mayor of the fourth largest city in Georgia, so how does that?
Well, it makes me feel proud. We're very excited that we consolidated the city of Macon and Bibb County as of January the 1st, 2014. And now anybody that lives anywhere inside Bibb County is also a resident of the city of Macon. So there are about 155,000 people in Macon. Now we're the fourth largest city in Macon, and I'm absolutely thrilled and delighted to be their first mayor.
We're in the beautiful Cherry Street Plaza in downtown Macon, Georgia, where we found 3 historical landmarks.
Residents who need bus transportation to get around the town can hop on one here at the historic 1916 terminal station located at the foot of downtown Cherry Street. It is one of Georgia's grandest surviving passenger railroad stations. In its heyday, hundreds of citizens boarded and departed trains at this historic rail depot. The station received a $5 million renovation in 2010, preserving its beautiful marble lobby. It is used for weddings, special events, parties, and special gatherings. In 2012, filmmakers used the station to shoot scenes for the movie 42, based on the life of baseball great Jackie Robinson. And in 2013, scenes for the Lifetime TV movie The Trip to Bountiful, starring Cicely Tyson and Vanessa Williams, were shot at the station. Well, here's my bus. See you around town.
In 2007, Oprah Winfrey brought her favorite theme show to Macon, Georgia. The Oprah Winfrey Show, the highest rated talk show in history, was taped at the Macon City Auditorium on November 27, 2007, and millions of viewers were introduced to Macon, the heart of Georgia. Everyone was excited as the popular talk show host made her rounds throughout the city. Sightings of the Queen of Daytime were talk of the town. She's at the Tubman Museum. I just saw Oprah on Cherry Street. I just saw her at New Way. I saw her at H&H restaurant.
Oprah Winfrey did stop by the H&H restaurant when she visited Macon. Mama Louise was so excited to see her. Over 300 people were standing inside waiting to greet her. Once she walked in the door, a man said, "Oprah, will you marry me?"
When you walk through the doors of the new Tubman Museum, pause for a moment and enjoy its beauty before you begin your tour. Can you tell me why this museum is named after Harriet Tubman?
Yes, Father Richard Kyle at the time, who is the founder of the museum, was so inspired by Harriet Tubman, just her courageousness, her willingness to risk her life several times when she escaped herself and went back for other people, her family, and just helping slaves to escape. That sheer determination that she had, Richard Kyle sees that in African American culture, and because of what she did, he was so inspired by her, he named this museum in her honor. Now, the location that we were in on Walnut Street, that was began in 1981, we outgrew it, believe it or not. So many people were just taken by like what the Tubman represented in this community. You had artists wanting to get their work in, you had people who were collecting art, giving gifts and donations, and before we knew it, all of our collections and exhibitions had outgrown the space that we were in. We were bursting at the seams and people didn't even know it. We went from an 8,500 square foot building to a 49,000 square foot building.
What is the significance of this mural?
Well, this mural was one of the original art pieces when this first became a museum. We were commissioned by Mr. Wilford Stroud, who was a local artist and musician, one of the founders of the Macon Jazz Association. And he was commissioned to paint this mural to capture the ups and downs, the trials, the tribulations from Africa to America.
On your next visit to Macon, make sure one of your first stops is to the Tubman Museum, celebrating African American art, history, and culture for over 30 years.
The kit on the way, it's up and good. The Falcons are going to the Super Bowl. The Falcons are going to the Super Bowl. Now that was a great play, and it all goes down in Georgia Sports Hall of Fame history. Now I love all things Georgia sports, but tell me, what should I expect when I come here?
Well, we definitely cover all sports in Georgia. We have a two-story museum. It's about 40,000 square feet of exhibits on high school sports, college sports, Olympic sports, professional sports, any sport you can name, we cover it here.
Herschel Walker exhibit, I love it. Tell me some more exhibits that you have here.
Oh yeah, we definitely highlight Herschel Walker. He's very popular in our Hall of Fame corridor, but we highlight a lot of other famous Hall of Famers from Georgia. Ty Cobb's a big name that people are usually interested in. Gwen Torrance, the track star. Bobby Jones, the golfer. Those are just a few. But we have almost 400 Hall of Famers in our Hall of Fame.
Thousands of years ago, the Native Americans inhabited this beautiful land here at the Ocmulgee National Monument. The 702-acre park, which stretches from the Emory Highway to the Ocmulgee River, was once home of the Muskogee Creek Indian. They built ceremonial and sacred ancient earth mounds that still remain on the land today. The Native Americans used to live here. What was their lifestyle like?
They first came here during the Ice Age, and they were hunters and gatherers. In about 1000 BC, they learned to grow crops. They grew sunflowers and then corn, beans, and squash. So they hunted and grew crops up until the removal in the 1800s.
With all these burial mounds, are the Indians buried under us?
There's a funeral mound here, and that's where they would bury the elite members of the village around 1000 BC up until about the 1800s. If you were a common person, you actually were buried underneath your house.
Did the Indians come back here?
Yes, they come back every September. We have an Indian celebration, and it's always the third weekend in September, and they share their culture with people who visit during the celebration.
The Douglas Theater was born from the vision of Charles Henry Douglas to open a venue where African Americans could enjoy great entertainment during segregated times. Douglas, one of Macon's most prominent citizens and first black millionaires, opened the Douglas Theater in the early 1900s, and it became one of the premier movie theaters and vaudeville halls for black citizens.
Makeda, in the roaring 20s, legendary stars such as Cab Calloway, Bessie Smith, and Ma Rainey, and others entertained audience on this stage.
Well, in the 1950s, the Douglas Theater hosted teenage party talent shows, and on this stage is where Otis Redding was discovered, where Little Richard wooed audiences, and where James Brown, the godfather of soul, showcased his famous dance moves.
Check out the Walk of Fame. It has portraits of those who kept the legacy of Charles Henry Douglas alive today.
It is said that it must be something in the water in Macon, Georgia, because the city has produced many of the world's most renowned artists. Affectionately known as the soul and sound of the South, Macon music influences range from southern rock to country to rock and roll, hip-hop, R&B, and gospel. Capricorn Records, started by Phil and Alan Walden and Frank Fender, put Macon music on the map.
If we could turn back the hands of time to the years 1970 to 1976 and knock on the door of this house, 2321 Vineville Avenue, we would most likely be greeted by the most respected bands of all time. This is the Vic House, home of the Auburn Brothers. Wow, this is an amazing museum. Now, can you tell me why is it called the Big House?
Sure. The reason it's called the Big House is because when the band moved into it, it was the biggest house they'd ever seen. What is now this neighborhood there were not nearly as many buildings. There was the school across the street, there was the church across the street, but not as many houses were in the neighborhood. And when they walked in, it's it's 6,000 square feet. They'd never been in a place so big. So it's referred to as the Big House, and now it's the Allman Brothers Band Museum at the Big House. The house was home base for them. It was a place where they got to eat a home-cooked meal, come home after a tour, be with their family, play with their kids, practice music, but not be performing. They were one of the first integrated bands in the South. And to bring different cultures together into one band was really trend-setting and different.
Can you tell me who the band members were?
Sure. You had Dwayne Allman, who's in this painting behind us. He was the one who formed the band. There was J-Mo, who was the drummer. There was Barry Oakley, who was the bass player. Dickie Betts, who was another guitar player. Butch Trucks, who was the second drummer. And Greg Allman, Dwayne's little brother, and he was the singer and keyboard player.
Now, I heard about the tragedies with Dwayne and Barry. Can you tell me about them?
Unfortunately, both passed away in motorcycle accidents in Macon, roughly a year apart from one another.
Now, what were their careers like during this time?
Right around the time of Dwayne's death, the band really took off. The first two records had sold moderately well. The third record was a live record called Live at Fillmore East, which was recorded in a theater in New York City, and their career skyrocketed from that point on.
The Allman Brothers Band's Southern rock style of music is loved worldwide, and they were inducted into Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1995 and was presented the 2012 Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award.
The Allman Brothers Band members Dwayne Allman and Barry Oakley are buried side by side here at the historic Rose Hill Cemetery, and people from all over the world visit the beautiful cemetery to pay respects to Dwayne and Barry and other noted people buried at the cemetery.
Macon, Georgia is known as the cherry blossom capital of the world. Every spring since 1982, thousands of people from around the world visit the city to celebrate the annual Cherry Blossom Festival. Caroline Creighton founded the festival to honor her friend and Macon businessman Harry Ficklin, Sr., who gave the people of Macon Japanese Yoshino cherry trees to plant around the city starting in the early 70s. The Yoshino cherry tree is known for its vibrant display of white pink blossoms, and when they are in full bloom, it's a beautiful sight to see.
Hey young man, how you doing today?
Good.
Good. What do you know about this guy?
You look a lot like him.
Think so? That's my father. That's the legendary Otis Redding.
Well, I've been learning about your father, Otis Redding, for like a long time, and I was just wondering if you could tell me a little bit more about him.
Okay. He was born in Dawson, Georgia, moved to Macon when he was very young, pursued a music career, and became a world-known international superstar.
Well, do you play any instruments or do music?
I've done music a very long time. I had a group called the Reddings, my brother and I still perform and play guitar, give lessons. I get to travel the world. I do tributes to my dad. I see you have a trumpet there in your hand.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Really?
Yes, sir. I was just hoping could just play sitting on the dock of the bay on this trumpet one day.
Well, you're going to have to be able to play more than sitting on the dock of the bay. You can play any song you want. As long as you stay in school, stay determined, and do right by your parents and be a good kid, okay?
Okay.
All right.